The Sims 4 has some new bugs since the May 27th game update. Hello, my name is Jennifer and welcome to my Sims 4 news video. So I'm only covering the ones that are new since the update. There are obviously lots of other outstanding bugs and I'm not touching on those here. There is also something new for computer players that isn't a bug, and I'm going to cover that too. And I'll cover that first, but also my understanding from what I can see is that this still isn't out for console players. So as a console player, you wouldn't have experienced any of these issues because you haven't had this update. But here is the thing that isn't a bug, but people might think is a bug. But in the game, the default is for this new enable camera help icons to be on. And that shows this overlay both in live mode and build mode. There'd be some overlap between the two because the controls can be the same between the two, but also there are different controls in build mode and live mode, so there would also be some differences, but this is on by default. So if you want to get rid of it, you can click on the three dots in the upper right hand corner to get to your game options. Of course, this is a guide from Crenreg. Then you click on your game options as is shown there, and then that will bring up game options. And at that point, you want to go to the tutorials and tips. And then you want to remove the check mark for enable help center icons and control legends to turn it off. So you want to do that. And then you want to save your changes. I do find if I don't save it, it will prompt me to save it, but it's better just to save it. Of course, if you want it back, you would have to go back in and reverse that and check it again. But that's kind of how that is. So that is not a bug. That is something that was added with the last update. And you have to turn it off if you don't want to see it. But personally, I wouldn't want to see it. So I will be turning it off when I do actually eventually update my game. I haven't done that yet, because a couple of these bugs are ones that give me some concern. So here's this first one that has the highest upvotes, as it used to be called Me Too. So it has 58 upvotes at the time that I got the screenshot. And this is a seasons bug, and you can't make a New Year's resolution. So of course, this is only something you're going to see if you have that as a holiday tradition. It is a default for like New Year's in the game, which is a standard holiday or a preset holiday that you can get rid of or edit as you wish. But that is one that's there. And also, if you want to do a custom holiday where you use resolutions, it would affect that too. So essentially, what is happening is that when you select the sim, the option to make a resolution is there, but when you select it, nothing comes up for you to actually make a resolution. So you'll see it, but you can't do anything with it. Or at least that's what's affecting the people who have upvoted the bug report. The next one that I'm going to talk about is that this Cha-Cha mostly tall sliding door is missing from the buy build mode. So they're showing an example of one that isn't missing, just to give a feel for what it is. But it's the small walls version that's been removed from the game. And I'm guessing it's a bug, even though they're like, is this deliberate? I don't see it. It's under investigation. So it's been accepted as a bug. So here's someone who's got like a screenshot that shows the one that's missing in the middle kind of thing. And they got an items removed because they had it there. So I'm thinking it's actually missing versus just not showing in the catalog from what I'm seeing reading through that bug report. So the next one, the third one that I'm going to cover here, is that the Sims portrait outfit changes or reverts back to a previous one when you're traveling. So this person had noticed after updating their game to the latest version that whenever their sim travels to a different lot, the outfit that they're wearing shown at their portrait at the bottom left changes, reverts to the outfit that they were wearing from the last time they manually saved in that specific outfit. So if you save your game while they're in an outfit, it'll revert back to that particular one. And they have tested various things, and that's essentially what's happening. And so currently, when I got the screenshot, there were 16 upvotes on it. And this actually seems to be, this was like had less, and it seems to be going up. So like I'm showing these in the order of like the number of the votes. And this is tied with the one on the door. And it was like lower down, and it seems to be going up. But again, you have to be like kind of aware of it. And maybe it depends on how much you save if you're going to notice that. But that is the bug, and it's a visual bug, but it would be kind of probably annoying depending on what they were wearing when you saved if you really don't want to see that on them. But That's that bug. So now this next bug is another seasons bug. So the Scouts badge progress UI is missing text. So there's an example of it. When they go to check their progress, it doesn't show the progress. And I don't know if this impacts on actually like leveling up your badges. I can't tell. It's still pretty early. And there is a last exception that you get when this happens, which does make sense since you can see there's visually, it doesn't look like it's supposed to look. Someone else did comment on the report that they had their sim working on the badge, and normally when you're working on a badge, in this case finding a frog, a translucent badge picture appears above the sim's head for a couple of seconds, and it makes a sound if you have your sound options enabled as the count goes up, but they didn't have that happen. So I don't know if this is impacting on actually leveling up your scout badges or if it's just a visual thing. I can't tell at this point. It's really too soon to say, but this is something that makes me want to make sure that any of my sim kids that are in scouts have got all their badges and have moved on before I update my game, because I do scouts with like all of my sim kids. So this would be something that could definitely affect me. Now, the fifth one is that this is a businesses and hobbies issue, that the employees are disappearing after a loading screen. So what they run into is that their small business repeatedly is being emptied and treated as though the employees quit. And one of the sims in the household has a no more loyalty moodlet for quitting a job. So they tried some trial and error, and it's if you start a small business, hire employees, go into CAS or back to the world map, re-enter the same household, the small business has no employees again. So I don't think I'd be very happy about that. It seemed like people were maybe saying like if you play rotationally that this is a big issue, but it seems like just if you just go into create a sim or in the world map and it's causing this to happen, that's not actually, it doesn't seem like it's just a rotational thing, because I do that even when I don't play rotationally. But anyways, that's what that bug is. Of course, if you're experiencing any of these bugs, I recommend you go over and, upvote the bugs and comment with your experience. And this one here is specifically for them. They're working on the sticky fingers aspiration, but they can't swipe anything with the sim who has a mischief skill of level 10. And there was a fix where you couldn't swipe things of high value if the sims had a low mischief skill level. But now they can't do it at level 10. So I don't know if you actually need to be level 10 to have this problem, or if there's just an issue with stealing. There was this comment here from Winkin, who has a no swipe cooldown mod, and they had said they can confirm that there's an issue with the business and hobbies swiping. They found when they were testing their mod that after the update, the regular kleptomaniac swiping works fine along with the burglar 8, which is obviously from spellcasters, working also. But if your sim has business and hobby swiping enabled in their small business, they can no longer use their regular swiping ability that comes with the kleptomaniac trait unless they leave or sell the business. So this seems a little different, because the person who did the bug report, they only had base game and they weren't using this, is what they said. So there does seem to be some issue around stealing, and it might be exacerbated if you have businesses and hobbies and have a business with this trait in it, per this modder's comment here. But anyways, I'm curious if you've experienced any of these bugs or any other new bugs. Obviously, there's like the weather inside is still an issue, and EA has acknowledged that. And then you have the save corruption for various reasons that EA has also acknowledged and given a status update on them, plus other bugs that are affecting people. But if you've had anything new since the game update, I'd love to know in a comment down below. But that's going to be it for this video. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye!